welcome back to Dev Talks podcast. I'm Devin Daniels, and I'm sitting here today with Lucinda Burton. She is running for, is it East or West Ward council member in Mountain View, Missouri. Have her on here today to talk a little bit about what she plans to do, where she wants to see our city move in a whichever way, and just kind of talk about the issues facing our town right now. Lucinda, how are you?
I'm okay.
How you been?
I've been busy. I stay that way though.
Starting out, why don't we tell everyone a little about who you are, what you plan on doing? You can talk about your business. I mean, I'll just give you the floor for now.
Okay. Well, I'm Lucinda Burton. My husband is Larry. We have 7 kids total. His all graduated from Mountain View, and mine is currently in Mountain View, and he's special needs, so they've made a special classroom over there. The school has, so he don't have to go to state school no more.
Oh, that's awesome.
They did that about a year, well, maybe about 2 years ago now.
At Liberty?
At Liberty.
Okay, so it's like a special school
It's
just
a special, yep, it's a special classroom that he goes to.
That's pretty awesome. I'm glad they're starting to appease more of that. You know, it seemed like for a long time, special needs as a whole fell through the cracks.
Yes.
Excuse me. And I'm glad that society as a whole has been starting to kind of come around and rally behind just special needs as a whole.
As a whole, yeah, because you don't see that a lot.
No.
And our town is really good about that. I can say that. Even the school system is really good about getting behind these kids.
Now, do they have like specialized teachers for that kind of stay with the special needs?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I like that. And that's what needs to happen. I remember when I was in school, which to me, it seems like yesterday, but it's been 10 years now, or 13. Gee, I'm old.
No, you're not.
13 years. But it seemed like, they were kind of out of sight, out of mind, keep them away from everyone and just let them do their thing, and by the time they got out of school, it's like, why did they go to school? And I mean, I'm sure everyone took care and they did what they could with them, but I'm glad we're putting more effort and more energy into that. You know?
Trying to help them out. Yes,
exactly. Because, once they become adults, they're still going to be adults and
they're still going to be in the community.
Exactly. And there's a lot of things that, that life skills and stuff that you learn from being in a classroom for being with people and having that interaction with all kinds of students and all kinds of faculty and all kinds of people, and I'm so glad that we're finally getting to a point where we know and we start to realize that special needs are just regular people that need a little extra.
Yep. That's all it is. They want to be just like anybody else.
Yes. And Down syndrome, autism, what
he has cerebral palsy with seizures.
Oh gosh.
We haven't had seizures in, knock on wood, quite a while.
What is cerebral palsy? Because
as a doctor once told me, it's a trash diagnosis that they don't know what caused it.
Kind of a catch-all?
Yeah, catch-all.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always wondered about that because, you see people talk about it, you see people, bring it up and stuff, but I've never really known what is it a brain disorder, a nerve disorder? Do you know?
Basically, that at some point they did not get enough oxygen to the brain.
Gotcha.
That's what they say.
Gotcha. Hey, there's a lot of people in Mountain View that have that.
There is. Yes, there is. There is. You're not kidding.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding, guys. Don't hang me. So, let's start. What made you decide to throw your hat in the ring and run for council? And you said East, right?
West.
I will get that right by the end of this. Okay. I promise.
Really, what kind of made me I wanted to run when we first moved into the city, but I hadn't been in a year. You have to be in the city a year, and I've been 6 months, so they wouldn't let me run the first time around. So then the second time, I just kind of didn't know who'd signed up, or I would have probably signed up. I just didn't get to it.
Yeah.
Our town needs to grow. We need more businesses. We need a lot of things. But one thing, probably the most, it don't take a lot to sit up there.
No.
You need common sense and to know what is right to go on for the city. And when you're elected by your citizens on your ward. So you should listen to what they're saying. If they're out in the audience telling you one thing, you should be taking that in, not just blowing them off like their voice don't matter because they just come anyway just to.
Yeah. And, that has been, I mean, as everyone knows, I go to the meetings and I make my little monologues and opinion posts. I know, they kind of, no one's safe with me. if I see something, I want people to know about it. Whether I'm right or wrong, that's fine. People are allowed to have their opinions. I want them to have their opinions, and I want people to express that. Either way, I don't care. Like I made sure to put, I do not pick a side. The main gripe within our city right now is lack of transparency as a whole. And that comes because, let's just take it back to, what was it, 3-4 months ago when the city administrator position, that was a big deal.
Yes.
I think it started back in October. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's about right.
We were being, I heard some stuff, but when you would go to these meetings and stuff, it was so hush-lipped and nothing, there was no explanation to the citizens, the taxpayers, and the voters about why or why not we needed this.
Exactly.
And I really think that's how we kind of started the spiral out of control within our town.
It is where it started, and it really was. They didn't explain why they wanted to hire one. They didn't put it out there. And I didn't get that.
Mm-hmm.
They
didn't even put a qualification list on.
No. Not when they put it out to applicants. Exactly. No, there wasn't nothing.
Mm-hmm. And, that's a big thing. Like, how do you hire someone without having specific objectives?
Exactly. And I'm not against having one. Mm-hmm. Let me just start. Let me first say that I know that the survey that was circulated through my office was somewhat of a division for our town. But that was really, it wasn't meant to do that. But rather to get the public attention, to be aware of the city's financial condition and the audits that the city spent $106,000 to confirm the city doesn't have finances to hire a city administrator. Yep. And it is my opinion that the city does need a financing and marketing consultant part-time. Our town really does need to come together and learn to work together. Mm-hmm. The last meeting, nothing productive come from that. No. If you want to, we all got to get along, and we've all got to listen to each other and try to do the best we can do. I don't have all the numbers from the city, but I don't really believe there's being anything hidden. I think people are wanting to make it that way, but I don't think there is. Yeah. I think there's so much controversy going on within each of them that's made it very confusing for
the whole hidden numbers thing. I don't know where that started. I don't know how it started, and I don't know where it goes. I've tried to find documents. I've tried, I dig, that's
yes,
what I do.
You do. You do a good job.
Thank you.
You do a good job at that.
And I dig, but I have not been able to find a hint of evidence that says there are hidden numbers, that there are this or that, if it's out there, I haven't seen it, so therefore, in my opinion, if you don't see the evidence, you can't
say that.
You can't say that, and I put a quote on social media today that says, if you assert without evidence, then it can be refuted without evidence. Because if you assert something, that is your job to show how and why you are saying this stuff. If they're doing it with no backing, then all someone's going to say is you're wrong.
Exactly.
The burden of evidence is on the accuser, not the accusee.
Exactly.
And I have not seen evidence of hidden money. I've heard the rumor. A lot of shit circulates Mountain View right now,
Yeah.
But that is one rumor I've heard that I haven't put no stock in because I've looked, and I haven't seen it. I do know one gripe. First, before I forget, I want to get back to what you just said. It's unfair for you to put that blame on yourself that everything got heated because of your petition or survey or whatever it was. You are a concerned citizen, you are a taxpayer, and you are a business owner of our town. You are allowed to have a voice, and you are allowed to rally people behind any subject, anything that you want brought to the attention of the citizens. You have that right, and I applaud you because you had the balls. Excuse my language. You had the balls to stand up, say, "This is what I believe, and this is what I'm going to do about it," and you took action. Not many people want to take action nowadays. It's all words. So I do applaud you for that.
Well, it needed to be. I didn't think it was right. They were trying to railroad something into to us, and not
I
even
agree.
most people didn't even know what they were doing. And I think a lot of people watch the meetings on the online.
Yeah.
That more people don't realize that than most.
Yes.
I didn't realize that till I was talking to people. Yeah, we watch it online. Yeah, we know.
There's a lot of people that watch it online, and
Yeah.
I'm glad they do, because anyone with a 9 to 5 job, or working weird hours, they can't get to a 6 o'clock meeting on a Tuesday. I mean, we have childcare, you have jobs, you have everything in life, and people are not going to put that aside for city government shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so at the end of the day, that's one thing I do love about the technological age we live in, is they can get on their phone. Oh, what I miss? Sitting in their recliner, poop, and just watch.
And just watch it.
And that's an amazing thing. It keeps more people informed, and it keeps our government in check more. Because things can't be done just under the cloud of darkness anymore.
That's right.
I always say, sunshine is the best disinfectant. And I think streaming, I think the videos, everything that puts extra sunlight on it to where nothing can be hidden. And I love that.
That's me. I think that's right.
Yep.
And I like that people are watching it,
especially
the business owners. Some of them I talk to are watching it, and that makes me feel, they are staying involved. They just, I'm tired at the end of the day too. It's hard to go down there at 6 o'clock, and it's been really hard the last few meetings to go sit even through.
Yes, especially like the town hall from what was it, last Tuesday or Tuesdays? Last Tuesday.
2 Tuesdays ago.
Yeah. So 2 Tuesdays ago, that town hall, it got wild quick, and I think when we talked about this before, that a lot of the citizens' anger is, I don't want to say misplaced, but maybe on the wrong subject, and who am I to tell them that it's a wrong subject to be angry about? But at the same time, you got to be able, whenever he's up there and he's answering these questions, you got to be able to ask him something that he can answer. And it seemed like a lot of people were just going in for a kill, where he was put in an impossible position to answer an impossible question.
Yeah.
And I mean, there were some good questions asked, and he took a beating, but at the end of the day, you're a government official. I mean, and if they're mad, that shows you the climate of our town.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that.
Yep.
That's where our town is right now. People are mad. People are pissed. But the thing is, like, how do we move forward from that? How do we alleviate that heated tension? How do we get past it? You know what I mean? And,
I know.
And that's a glaring concern within our city, is finding a way.
Yep.
So you're a businesswoman.
Yep.
How many businesses do you own? What do you do?
Let's see. I moved down here in 2007. Me and Larry got married in 2012, and he owned Burton Transport, and then I opened Able Insurance, and then we have the bowling alley was the strike zone. We owned that, and then I had a laundromat, Suds and Duds, and then I also owned a building downtown that I rented, but I've got both of those sold. So I do know finances.
Yeah.
And I also
You're a businesswoman.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And whether people want to believe it or not, a city needs to be ran like a business.
Just like a business.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
If our government was run that way, we might be in better shape.
Exactly. But no, we got Mr. Babylon Joe up there, and he don't know where his ass is most of the days, He likes his ice cream, but that's about all he has.
Yeah, and isn't it chocolate his favorite?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's just race baiting.
But and to be honest, most of the things that was complained about is things that's been this way. That it's nothing new. And if they listen to John, he's working on getting a grant to fix the streets, the sewer. It don't happen overnight.
No.
And I don't think most people get that. And one thing, I'm not blaming anybody, because there's nobody to blame. But I don't believe back councils have looked forward.
Yes.
They didn't look forward. If you really listen to about the city administrators they've had before, one stole money. The other one, I knew he didn't do much of anything.
Yeah, misappropriated money for sure. I mean, I've heard the stories, taking money out of the general fund to pay for the electric or whatever, had his personal card to go to and fro. And that puts a bad taste into citizens' mouths about getting another. Because
Exactly.
once you lose that trust with the citizens, how do you gain it back? You know?
That's exactly right.
And I totally understand that.
And like I said, I'm not against them. I'm not against hiring one. I just think if you're going to hire one that's not your friend. Hire somebody that you know you're going to hire in there that really wants the job, going to do things for Mountain View. Just like I know you applied, and I think you would have probably been good at it.
Yes.
Because you're from Mountain View.
Yes.
And you want to see it grow.
Yes. And even like, and I didn't 100% apply just because I wanted the job. I did it so I could speak to the council, because at the time I was 100% against it. Now I don't know which way to flow on it. But at the time, I wanted to be able to get up there. And one of my main concerns was they had no qualifications. So I was like, okay, 30-year-old guy, I'm going to apply and just show them, they have no qualifications up. So why not me? Why not? I mean, anyone could apply. They had no qualifications up. So that was a big glaring thing. And as I pointed out on my video, it looked like, and I don't know if this is true or not, but this is what it looked like. And this is what people thought, is that it was a way to push through who they wanted. And at the time there was no transparency. There was no one talking. So of course, humans and Americans especially are very distrusting of government, period. End of story, period.
Yep.
So whenever they do not have information, they gravitate towards the worst possible scenario, because as we've seen over and over with government, it's usually the worst possible scenario, and so by not putting qualifications out, yes, it does look bad, especially to the public. I mean, that would have all been alleviated by having a qualification list around. Like, this is what we need. Boom, 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 boom. Here's the objectives. This is what we're trying to get done. So we're looking for someone with these qualifications.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you on that. It's just, I hate seeing our town in the turmoil and the strife and the infighting. God, the infighting. It seems like nothing good has happened in the past 5-6 meetings. It's just been back and forth, and citizens are getting tired of it. It was fun for a month or two for them to watch, but now they're like, okay, let's pump the brakes.
Truthfully, my opinion is, if you're going to sit on that board, first off, you got to get along with the mayor. No matter what you think, he is who runs the town.
Yes.
No matter if you have a city administrator, he runs the town.
Yes.
If you sit on that board, you should be getting along with your mayor. Once you're not getting along with the mayor, you got to step down, because it's not going to get better.
Well, see, on the same foot, this is just my personal opinion, that council, mayor are two separate entities, and it causes a check and balance within our system. Getting along, to me, okay, whatever, if you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. But at the end of the day, being able to put aside your differences and look at what's best for our town. That's my main thing. And the mayor runs the town, yes. But at the same time, this is one of the concerns of many citizens, is that the mayor isn't the boss of the council. You know what I mean? Because
no, he's not.
Because the council has a 1/4 vote. They are the ones who do make the big decisions, and that's what they were elected for. And that's one concern, that has come up over and over again is, and I'm not accusing of this, but this is, I've heard it from a million people, and this is what they say, is that it seems like the mayor is wanting to be the boss over the council.
I don't really think that. I think, let's put it this way.
And we're just talking about all the issues here. We're trying to get some air cleared, and just give our opinions on things.
If you're a council member and you won't talk to the mayor,
yep,
there's a problem.
There is a problem. You are absolutely right.
And I know for a fact there's one on there that has barely ever talked to him. How do you expect to get stuff done if you won't talk to him?
And that's where putting aside the egos.
That's exactly right.
Exactly. You got to be able to put aside the egos and do what's best for our town.
And that's it. Just, they vote on paying the bills, and they're supposed to be watching the money. That's what they're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
To me, they want to do the hiring and firing, and that is not, to me, in their position. Now, supervisors, yes, but not the everyday people that...
The everyday people goes to the heads of the offices, right?
They go to the supervisors, I believe.
Yes, okay. That's what I
You know, that's where that should be.
I agree 100%.
And that's just kind of like the raises. I don't think the council should be saying what raises each person gets, because I'm not going to go take out of my day and time to go see what person's doing what job and if they're doing a good job.
Yes, it should fall to the supervisors to have a recommendation on who gets what.
Exactly.
I agree. On the flip side, these are more people.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
we're trying to talk about both sides here. That way, you know, maybe there's a little more understanding within our town. You know, let's just get this out right now. I'm not attacking the mayor. I'm not attacking the council. I'm not attacking workers. I'm not attacking anyone. I am trying to look at this from the most unbiased perspective. And, you know, Mountain View, a lot of people, they trust me to try to get answers now. And that's what I want to do. And I want to make sure they all feel heard and, you know, just get their questions answered to the best of the ability.
Yeah.
On that, I forgot what we were talking about. The raises.
Raises.
Yes. So one of the concerns, as we've seen on Facebook and the comments and everything else, is in the past, the council has voted on the raises as a line raise, you know, straight across the board, a percentile raise.
Right.
Okay.
Like a cost of living raise.
Yes. This is where the lack of transparency comes in yet again. And I swear, I think 90% of our government problems could be solved with talking.
Yeah, just talking.
I really do believe that. But one of the glaring concerns that people have on one side or the other is that why all of a sudden at this time is there specific people put in charge, and does that cause a problem with favoritism? You know what I mean? I mean, it is a valid point.
It is.
And whether it happens or not, you know, I understand where they come from. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not for sure who really does give the raises. I think it's probably the supervisors and the mayor. I believe where some of the confusion has come in is that Sarah, Eddie, and John made this pay scale.
The pay scale, not the raises.
No,
and that's what I heard.
Pay scale, not the raises.
Okay, so let's reiterate on that pay scale. Okay?
Yes.
That way everyone knows.
And then most of the employees, and I don't have that with me because I have seen them. Most of them don't make. And the ones that make the most money are your supervisors and the people like linemen, which if I was a lineman, I would hope my life is worth a little bit.
Amen.
Not just
Amen. And
just not climbing a pole to see if I get electrocuted and die.
And I've made that argument many times, is that, you know, someone brought up, they were talking about police. They're like, well, the police need a bigger raise than the linemen. And I was like, I said, let's look at state averages on salary. And I think that would be a good jump off point for raises. Nothing I want to reiterate before we get any farther is, you know, you're not in the council yet. Nope. None of this stuff is your fault. It has nothing to do with you yet. You know, we're talking about problems, solutions, why you're running, what you can do for our town. So none of this is on you. And I want to make that clear for everyone, because I don't want any confusion later on. You know, I don't want none
either.
Yeah. So, you know, you are running. You are not in. So therefore, you know, this is us talking about what you would do and how you would, you know, move the town in a more positive direction, and, you know, just who you are. And so I really wanted to make that clear that, you know, you are not the government.
No.
You know, and
none
of this is your yeah, exactly. And none of this is your fault. And I just wanted to make sure people knew that.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
The raises, in my opinion, if you can go get a job at McDonald's part-time for $15 an hour, you've got to keep up with that. You're not going to keep people.
Yep.
And there isn't people out there that's looking for jobs.
No.
I can tell you that. It is hard to find somebody that wants to work.
Yes. We've had openings for 2 years at the shop. Trust me. Yes.
So, you know, so when you train somebody and then they go off, you've put all this money into somebody and they've left because they didn't get what they were promised or what they thought they were going to get.
Yes. Yes.
So on the raise part, yes, I'm all about that. I think the police deserve their fair share too.
Yep. But you got to look at state averages.
But you got to look at that. Yes, exactly.
You know, 'cause
my understanding is, I think they've looked, and this is just my understanding. If I heard right, they look at West Plains and they look at Willow and they look at, there's another one. Yeah. But I can't remember which one it is.
Yeah.
But they call around, they check with everybody, I think. But
just to see if they're competitive.
Just to see if they're competitive.
Yes.
Exactly.
You got to be. I mean, yeah, West Plains is a lot bigger, but we're only like 20 minutes away from it, so it would be easy for them to go there. I understand that 100%. You know, and me, I have no qualms with the raises. I really don't. To me, I want our city workers to make money, so
Yeah.
to me, that isn't a glaring issue of concern for me. I know there are a lot of people, and it's a valid reason, and that's why we're talking about it now. But to me, I want our city paid. I want our workers paid. If God forbid we lost our linemen, we lost our police, we lost our sanitation department, where would our town be? I mean, if
Exactly.
everyone up and quit, we would be screwed.
Yeah, because you can't find nobody that's going to replace them tomorrow.
That, and it takes time. Like a lineman, they have to go through a schooling to even be able to be qualified for it.
Yep.
And I know there's programs, where they can do a contract and make their money and work it off for the city, which I love that. I think it's a great way to do it. So there are a lot of opportunities for people who are wanting to get into that career field. It's a good way to do it. Start out at the city, they'll help you out, you help them out. I love that.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the raises are the raises. I understand people's concerns. They were talking about, they were scared of just a select few people being put in charge. And like I said, with government, they're always looking at the worst case scenario.
But if you listen to what John said, it used to be when the council did it, if it wasn't so-and-so, they didn't get one because they didn't like them.
Yes.
That's not right either.
Absolutely not. But the same problem does get raised by, and that's what they're talking about now, is because, I think the safest way, would have been a line raised vote. But I get why, I'm fine with the government being edgy. They want to try something new, but people are scared of new. They really are.
Yes.
And they always see the worst possible scenario first, and whether that be the case or not, and so that's some of the people's concern is, well, how do we know that they are being honest and true? But, like you explained it, they came up with the pay scale, not the raises. So
yeah,
like, was the supervisors, the division heads, I guess, were they the ones in charge of like writing a performance report or something and say this guy deserves a raise? I mean, if you know, if you don't, you don't.
I don't know that I don't really know.
Yeah.
So
okay. Well, I mean,
I wished I did, but same. I don't know that part.
Yeah, same. And that again,
there again, that's transparency. That's right. Transparency.
Yeah. It would help if we were explaining that. And
yeah,
a lot of this stuff would be really alleviated just by talking, and
yes,
that's like the mayor's minutes. I love the mayor's minutes. I think there's a lot of good things that have happened to our city that's happened within those minutes, and a lot of things have been done good. I mean, they put a new pole in at a handicap sign by the post office. I think they've gotten an ordinance or some type of ticketing thing for like diesels making the Jake brakes. I mean, we have enacted change by using the mayor's minutes, and I really do like that. Where it fails is whenever people come in just to try to cut the head off the mayor and get mad. You know what I mean? You can't. You have to give. I know I'm talking a lot. I'm sorry.
You're okay.
But you have to give a reasonable question and expect a reasonable answer. He is one person. He's not going to know everything. It's not his job to know everything. You know, and that's where it should come together as our city council, our mayor, working together to further, because that's the only way anything's going to get done.
Exactly.
Otherwise, we go into a stalemate like we've seen with, the city administrator position, the appointment of Judy, the appointment of
I think it was Mary Lynn.
I don't know.
I don't know her either. So
so that appointment, it's stalemating right now, back and forth, back and forth. So that's what happens whenever we have a city and a mayor that doesn't get along.
Exactly.
And I think that's where the most concern and the most aggravation is coming from, is just the fact of fighting.
Exactly. It's one thing. Everybody has their own opinion.
Absolutely.
Just like, not everybody gets along.
Nope. And they're like assholes. Everyone's
exactly. But you got to try to get along and put your differences aside and look at some of what you got to compromise. Does that make sense? Absolutely. You got to give and take.
Absolutely.
And that's just like with me running. I'm going on there with an open mind. Mm-hmm. You got to compromise and give. Mm-hmm. That's how it's all going to work. Yes. And the fighting ain't going to do it. No. And that's what needs to quit. It all needs to quit.
Yep, I agree.
Because it has not done nothing for our town.
And, you going in with an open mind, I love hearing that, because that's what we need. We need open minds. We need We need fresh perspectives, and like I think you are highly qualified. I would
Thank
love to see you up there on that council, because I trust you. You are very open, honest, and blunt when needed.
Yeah, I am that when I needed
that's
to
good.
be.
But that is a good thing. I mean, I don't like government officials that try to sugarcoat and just make me feel good. I want them to be, this is what's happening. This is what we can do. Deal with it, and we're working on it.
Exactly.
That's how it should be. You can't appease everyone in the government.
No.
As we've seen, you never will. There's always two sides.
There's always two sides.
Always.
But there should be somewhere where we come together and try to get along and try to make the best of what we got.
Yes.
And that's what needs to happen now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get past all this and move on.
Yep, I agree 100%. And like I said in the video, we have an election coming up in April, and that's going to be. I don't think anyone in there safe that's running. You know what I mean? And I think it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of time and a lot of dedication, and a lot of working together to be able to fix the mess our town is in right now.
Yes,
because to me, it is a mess.
It is a mess.
There, another thing people talk about, and I'd like your opinion on as a possible council member, is do you think Mountain View relies on grants too heavily instead of trying to put in, which I get it, we might not have money, and we might have to.
I really don't think we do any more than any other town does.
Okay.
Look at Willow. They just got a big, whatever you want to call that thing.
Yeah, the MRAP.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
And they got that by a grant.
Yeah.
I don't think grants are bad.
No.
Our streets.
Free money.
Since 2007, when I moved here, they haven't been paved. They haven't been redone anywhere. Those need to be done. If it takes a grant, then I think that's what we need to do.
Absolutely. Me too. But that was a question people asked.
But yes, I think grants, we don't rely on them. That's what they're there for.
Mm-hmm. And it's free money. Why would we not want it?
Exactly.
It's not like Mountain View has enough tax money to alleviate any of our problems.
And it don't.
I mean, I fear for our town. It scares me that to me, it looks like a dying town.
There's no building going on. There used to be a builder that built houses, and that's just stopped. Yeah. There's nobody building houses in town. I hear it's because there's not enough electric and enough sewer, but that's things that could be done to fix that, to be able to do this building. Because if you don't build, you're not going to have people move here.
I agree.
I mean, so there is things that need to be done. Some of the things, that I really would like to see done is I'd like to see another grocery store.
Me too.
I'd like to see a restaurant.
Me too.
I'd like to see some more shops. I'd like to see our chamber get some help too. The chamber gets help. I think things could go a lot better too.
Yes.
Not saying they don't do a good job. No, I think she does.
They do great with what they got.
Some help.
I agree.
The city used to help with that.
Yeah. Has the city kind of stopped helping with the chamber?
I don't think it has helped in a lot of years. Yeah. I mean, yes, they rent the building, they get the building to stay in, but they used to pay some money for somebody to be there full time, and that has not happened. And that used to be, I don't know if they had a grant. I don't know what they did for that.
Okay. I got
That's something I would like to.
Well, that's something, I mean, if you get in, you could look and see if there is a grant for that.
That's what I would like to get in and see, because I think the chamber being there all day would help a lot.
I agree.
Be a full-time job. They could go out and do more for the businesses.
Yeah.
I'd even like to see something maybe come off the chamber, like a friends of the chamber that would go around and help businesses take things and show appreciation to the ones that's there in town. I think that would be really cool, because I know some people probably don't even feel like they're appreciated sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, as business owners, you do a lot of time you feel left in the dark, and as a business owner, this is definitely one of my gripes, is that it feels like you're kind of forgotten about until it's time to fork up money, and then people come with your hand out, and it is a lot. I mean, they don't care about you unless you're wanting to sponsor or support something.
Exactly.
And then it's, hey, we miss you,
Yeah,
it's
we want you to sponsor us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lots. I mean, I'm sure you get it too.
I do.
As a business owner, how many times a week do people come in for a donation or a sponsorship? And I want people to understand businesses cannot sponsor everything, so never take no as a personal slight or as, something negative, because the fact remains is if we've already sponsored something for that month, sometimes it's not in the books to be able to do.
And that's true.
Yeah.
you can't give to everything. It don't work.
No. And nor we should, but guess what would help that? If we got more businesses in here.
Exactly. If we got more businesses, that would. Yeah.
What do you think? What would be a good way? I mean, I know, you're not in there. You don't know the financials. You don't know, anything yet. But what would be a good jumping off point to maybe start initiating businesses to look at her? Because if I was a business right now,
you wouldn't want to come to our town, would you?
I would head the other way fast. So, and that's another bad thing that comes from all this is it disincentivizes businesses from coming into our town.
Yes, it does.
Where's the jumping point, do you think? Like, where's the first step? The smallest step possible, but the first step to start knocking us towards incentivizing businesses or new infrastructure to come in?
Well, one is you need to get somebody out there that's going to go out and find these businesses and try to get them to move into our town.
Mm-hmm.
We did support 2 grocery stores. I don't know why we couldn't now again support 2 grocery stores.
Competition is good.
Competition is very good. You know that.
It keeps everyone honest.
Keeps everybody honest.
Yes.
It's just like restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see a restaurant come in that would stay open from 6:00 in the morning till 9:00 at night.
Amen.
Because
sister. Amen. Preach.
Yeah,
Hallelujah.
exactly. Because that is one thing our town is lacking.
Yes.
And I know there's not a bunch up here probably in Willow either, but it would be nice to have one.
Yes, I agree.
What I see is a lot of our citizens tend to go to West Plains and shop.
Yeah, they outsource. Yeah, we have to.
And exactly. And if we at least had another grocery store, maybe they wouldn't go to West Plains and shop.
And keep more taxpayer
and keep more taxpayer money there.
And that's no slight on the grocery store we have now.
No.
But, and right now we have one grocery store and we have Walmart. Walmart doesn't carry much produce, and I'm not saying the grocery store does anything wrong. I buy from there a lot. But if we brought another one in, maybe they handle different things that the other one couldn't get, or, and it keeps prices down. It keeps people honest, and
they did handle different things.
Yes,
there's a lot of stuff you can't buy at Apple Mart that you could buy at Town and Country.
Exactly. And that is good for business because you're sharing the wealth, because in my opinion, only failing businesses think of things as competition,
Yes.
And when you realize you guys are in it together and it's more collaboration and supporting each other. And that's what I try to do is anyone that, we have a few tire shops in town. We have a few mechanics in town. If I can't get something, I send them to the other one. I want our town people to thrive, not just survive. I want them to thrive. And I don't look at it as money out of my pocket. I look at it as I'm helping that family because I couldn't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with competition. There's people that hate me. There's people that freaking hate my guts. I'm sure would love to see my head on a spike and they won't come in. Good. Go to the one that you like, because in a capitalistic society, that's how we're built for a reason.
That's exactly right. That's why there's different places to go.
Who would want every customer in town? My business could not handle everyone.
Nobody could.
Exactly.
There's enough to go around.
Exactly. And I feel like that is forgotten a lot of times. And, it comes, and I get it. Human nature is jealousy, and it's like, oh, they're taking food out of my mouth, but it's not,
No.
If someone goes to one, who knows, they might come to you. Like, say if someone, I'm just using the shop as an example because I've got one, say they buy tires from me. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. But they get a flat and they're like, well, I like how they do flats. So they go to them doing flats. What's wrong with that? You know what I mean? Everyone's making their nut. It's not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
Yep.
I think that's some of the problem. People don't like competition.
Yes. Especially in these small towns. They like to keep it. They like to keep their dirty little hands on everything. Mine. You can't have any,
Yeah. That is true.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, it's like a lot of this stuff, if we had a more community mindset, it would help a lot.
Well, if you really look at Mountain View,
mm-hmm.
There's so much possibility there. There is nothing east of Mountain View till Poplar Bluff.
Yes.
Van Buren is just about like Mountain View. It's not very big, but there's nothing till there. There's people that come from Fremont
mm-hmm.
up to Mountain View and shop. There's people that come from Summersville and shop. I don't know about Willow so much, but I know Summersville. So in Birch Tree, you got all that little bit of town there, Mountain View could be a lot.
Oh,
It could have a lot.
We have customers all the way to Van Buren and Eminence, that come to us for tires, and we, that's very humbling to know that they trust us enough
to travel that far.
travel that far to come to our shop. And I love that, and I appreciate those customers so much. It's like, you picked us, and I agree with you, and
so there's a lot there. I mean, we have a lot to offer.
Yes, and we have a lot of potential.
We do.
Yes,
it's just if we can get there.
And it starts with just moving the needle in a better direction.
Exactly.
I mean, our town's been through a lot of controversy lately and a lot of conspiracy lately.
Yeah.
And when do we just put it aside and be like, okay, let's quit. Who cares personal feelings? Let's start focusing on our town.
Exactly. And that's what really needs to happen. Just focus on the town now.
Yes.
Put all the rest of it to the back.
Exactly.
Because it isn't going to matter.
Yeah.
You're going to get 2 months down the road, and then you're going to think, well, what was this really all about?
Yeah. Yeah. In the grand scheme of things, yes.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your plan. Like, if you become, well, actually, I want to talk about something else, actually, real quick, if you don't mind.
That's fine.
Okay. You have a special needs child, right?
Yep.
Okay. What do you think about the special needs part getting put in?
I am all for that.
Me too.
I am very much all for that.
And I want to do a big shout out to Michael McBride for putting in the legwork and getting this started.
Yes.
Thank you. This is going to be good.
Thank you, because it is. There is a lot of kids in this area that are handicapped that will really benefit from that.
Yes.
More than anybody knows.
Yeah.
Probably me more than anybody knows.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Gary loves to swing.
Well, it gives them a safe place to, just,
Yep.
and that has the specialized equipment they need or whatever. And I don't know. I think that's a great thing.
It is a great thing.
Yeah. And I'm happy that one of our citizens have stepped up to the plate and is putting in the legwork and putting in the time and, is going to make this a possibility for our town.
And it would be great.
Yes, I agree.
Because there is a lot of kids. I mean, this area alone, I'm trying to remember when Gary was born, they said there was in the whole state of Missouri, there was 600 and some kids that's handicapped in the whole state of Missouri.
Wow. And that's a lot
That's
of kids.
a lot of kids.
That's a lot of kids. And it's sad. I wish they could figure out what causes. I know I'm getting kind of off track, but man, I wish they could maybe one day with medical research and stuff, we'll be able to figure out what it is and fix that part.
I hope so.
Which
it would be nice.
And I hate to look at it like they need fixing, because they don't. They're some of the happiest people I've ever met. They have.
Well, put it this way, they don't have no stress in their life.
Exactly. I mean, I kind of envy them.
Yeah, they have no stress.
but things might be. Things are a little harder for them. But man, they are some resilient people to be able to, go through life and do what they do and make a life for themselves, even with that disability.
Exactly.
And it's pretty awesome. Let's take a time real quick. I'm going to use the restroom.
Okay.
Okay. Let's keep going. Sorry.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure.
One thing most people probably don't realize, there is classes you can go to for the council to sit up there.
Yeah.
And that is one thing I am very much going to go to, because if I'm going to do something, I want to be sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Say, as you should. I mean, that's a great thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if the others that set up there did that.
Yeah.
And if they didn't, they should.
I mean, from seeing them, I don't think so.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of mistakes and a lot of, lack of professionalism as a whole, within just the whole government. But yeah, I think if the classes are available, they should take the classes.
Exactly.
For dang sure,
because all you can do is learn.
Exactly.
And that's what you need to do if you're going to sit up there, is learn exactly what you're doing and what's supposed to be doing, and your rules and your regulations.
Yeah, and everyone's just human. We can only do the best we can, but we want to improve.
Exactly.
And that's a good way to improve, is by, if you take this job with no want to get better at it, then where do you go except for where you're at?
Exactly.
You're just spinning your wheels of mud.
Pretty much.
Point,
Yeah. So why bother if you're not going to put out 100% to do it?
Exactly. I agree 100%.
So
back to it. What do you think? What are some of the major things that you think need change that you're running on? Just give us your opinion on, what are some things that you want to change, see changed, enact stepping stone change?
Well, I would really like to see everybody get along.
Yeah, me too.
I would like to see our streets and our sewer. I would like to see anything in our town that needs to be improved.
Yes.
There's so much there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the park, that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing.
Yeah.
This park for the handicapped kids, that would be great. That's going to be a plus for our town.
Agreed.
I when our parks got lit up, I thought that was great
Mm-hmm.
because that keeps down
Crime.
the trouble.
Yeah.
In there.
Sunshine being a disinfectant.
Exactly. I'd like to see some of our downtown businesses that's still empty to maybe get some people in them.
I agree.
You know,
yeah.
I really would like to see a homeless shelter put in.
That'd be cool.
Somewhere downtown.
Yeah.
I know, yes, it can bring problems. I know that. But I still think it's something that is needed for the hot and the cold weather. And I think it could be done.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing about homeless shelters I don't think people realize is like it's not just the homeless that go. What if there's a single mom who has 3 kids that can't pay her electric bill, her electric gets shot? They can go, and stay warm or stay cool or whatever, and it's not, I mean, it's a homeless shelter, but it's a people shelter that are on hard times.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I love that. I think that'd be great for our town because that just shows our community's heart.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's what we need to show.
And we do. And that's one thing that's really kind of that I would like to see done. I mean, I know they've done it down at the community center when it's been hot and cold.
Yeah.
But I really think if we had one that was open all the time and people was in there running it for the right reasons, they would come.
I agree. That'd be an amazing thing for our town. I love that.
So that is one thing that I really would like to see.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it is too hot and too cold, people don't need to be out in that.
No.
And I think there's a lot more homeless than a lot of us even realize.
Well, our town is very poverty stricken. I mean, if you take the average income of Mountain View, Birch Tree, Summersville, and even Willow and West Plains, I'm sure that it doesn't clear $30,000 a year.
I think you're probably pretty close to that.
Yeah, I mean, that's sad. I mean, how do people? Because once you're in that cycle, how do you get out of it? I mean,
exactly.
Once you're poor, and it takes money to make money. And
exactly.
No average person, like if there's no help out there for you, then you're stuck where you're stuck, and there's no getting out of it. And I hate that.
Yeah, because like single moms, they do have a hard time.
Dang
Most
right.
single moms work 2 jobs.
Yeah, and then they have to, and one of those jobs, that money's eaten up by childcare.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So actually just making one income, but paying double,
Yeah,
and
exactly. Paying the other for the childcare so she can make money to survive.
Exactly. So you have to pay 2 incomes to just get one.
Yeah.
And that's sad. That's sad. I mean, I would love to see, and I'm not about big government. I'm not about big government intervention in anything, but I would like to see like a federal system that is just for that. That would be awesome. But our fucking politicians up there on the Hill are too busy.
Too busy fighting on other stuff.
We're giving all of the money away to other places, and we can't even focus on. I mean, they just show that Americans are last, and that makes me mad.
Well, that is. They give our money, and they don't take care of our vets. No. They don't take care of the homeless vets.
Nope.
Good example of that's Vietnam vets. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of homeless of them. Yeah. There's a lot that don't take care of them.
Yeah, they were fed to the wolves, and when they returned,
and they had no homecoming. No, they weren't even welcome back home.
My uncle, my great uncle, he fought in Vietnam. He said whenever he came home, he got spit in the face 5 times stepping off that bus, and he came to my graduation for boot camp, and he was just crying about how awesome it was. He said, "You deserve this." He said, "This is something we never got. We were looked at as the enemy." I mean, and that hits hard, to realize the sacrifices they made. Whether that war was a good war or not, put that aside. We had American sons and American daughters over there dying.
Yep.
And they should have been treated a lot better. And that is a stain on American history, how they were treated.
It sure is.
And we should be making it right, but we're just waiting them to die off.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that makes me mad. But
yeah, but American history is very interesting. I like American history. and I'm very patriotic. I was born to be patriotic. Mm-hmm. My great grandfather fought in World War I.
Yeah.
I have his flag on my fireplace.
That's awesome.
Very proud of it.
Yeah.
And I had another whole side of the family. All my uncles on that side was in a war.
Yeah.
I think probably World War II, if I was guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And, They fought for our country.
Yeah, you come from a long line of service.
I do, and I'm very proud of it, and I'm proud of our country.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I mean, we have gotten away from the American values and stuff, but at the core, we're still Americans. And maybe one day, just like Mountain View, how it is right now, maybe one day we'll all wake up and realize we're in this together instead of against.
Exactly.
Like that flag behind me right here.
Uh-huh.
That thing was it was flown in a B-2 bomber whenever they did a bombing mission in Afghanistan back in 2015.
Neat.
Yeah, yeah. And it was presented to my daughter when she was born.
Oh, yeah, that is cool. Sweet.
Yep.
That is neat.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. Well, anyway, back to the city stuff. We keep getting off track, but that's fine.
I guess one thing out of that meeting, I don't know that I was there and heard it.
The most recent meeting?
Yeah, the most recent one. But I'm going to say, you can be a city employee and own a business without having to be put down for that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everyone's entitled to own a business.
Exactly.
If you want to put in the legwork.
If you really look at it, it's helping the town. Why would you not want another business here?
Exactly. It's more revenue for the town. I agree.
Yeah, because the only thing the town really makes money off of, and I don't know if many people realizes this, is the sales tax. Mm-hmm. That's what supports our town. Yep. And the electric. Yep. That's the two things they make money on.
Because the electric, I don't know if this is true. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it outsourced?
I don't think it's outsourced. It's they've got a contract with what's called, I think, MUD is what it's called. And it was to get it cheaper than what Show Me sold it to us for.
Gotcha. So do they take like a stipend off of it or whatever? Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
It's something to that, because the reason they got onto that was because at the time I owned the bowling alley and there was a demand on my meter when it went to a certain point. And because it was also
what's a demand?
Demand is where if it goes past a certain point, then you get charged demand price.
Oh, which is more. Gotcha. I just wanted everyone to know what that was. Yeah.
And so when we figured out we could change it all to 2-phase versus 3-phase and it wouldn't cost us as much, that's kind of what we did. But in the meantime, they went with MUD because Show Me was going to keep raising our electric till it was just outrageous. And so finally they got into that. And once they got into that, there was stuff that it was going to cost, like the upgrades, because it was way behind, as you know.
Yes. Yeah. Big time.
Big time. Yeah. And so once they got in that, they had to do the upgrades, which they've been doing all along. But they didn't change the price of the electric. They left it right at the last raise it was at. So, and that's been quite a while.
Yeah. Well, that showed, we were talking about competition whenever there's only one source in town, like Show Me, they could charge whatever they want. They had no competition.
They didn't, and they did.
And now they do. And now,
now they don't have it.
Exactly. So, and that's where capitalism works.
And I think that Willow and some of the other smaller towns, now I don't think Winona ever got onto it, but I think some of the other small towns was in it. And that's what finally pushed us to finally get in it. And and it was a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or else our electric would be probably sky high now.
Oh, especially right now with energy crisis going on. And oh my God. Yeah.
And that is something you asked. I would also like to see something for backing up our city electric if something was to ever happen.
I like that.
Like blackout,
have like a battery.
Just like solar, get a solar farm type thing maybe going to that would back up and help the city with the electric.
Yeah, and it might alleviate costs on people too with that.
Exactly.
That would be awesome. Have like its own little like battery plant or generator plant that stores the electric until peak time. And yeah, that would be awesome.
That could save a lot of people money.
And with the big push towards solar right now, I'm sure there's government subsidies out there and grants or whatever to get that done.
Exactly.
It's just, have we been looking for it? Because that's the main thing is, you're going to find what you put your effort into. And so if we look into that, maybe there is something there, and that's smart.
That's one thing that has come to my mind about is if, we used to get a blackout, I got a generator, I got a generator, but not everybody's fortunate to get those or have them.
And I mean, they're expensive, especially like to do a whole house or whatever. Yes. Yeah. Y'all listen to this, guys. She's got some good ideas.
So
she got some good ideas.
So that's something else I had thought about that might be good for our town to have.
That would be really good. Really good. Okay. Another question that, I talked about on the video was the the appointment of Judy Coulter. That's been a pretty big area of contention right now. I mean, like her or hate her, she was appointed. I'm not saying you like her hate. I'm just, I'm just.
I know what you're saying. Okay. You just go on. Yeah. Don't worry about it. I know.
But she was appointed back in December. Whenever she was appointed, she's worked for the city before. She knows how it runs. She'd be a great appointment. Blah 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 blah. Next meeting, 2 meetings later, there was a no vote. With the tiebreaker from John was the no vote. I asked him. I said, at the next meeting, I was like, why? And the only answer I got was because I didn't like her actions at the last meeting. And, as we were talking about, the mayor isn't the boss of the council. They're a check and balance system. So that does raise a concern to citizens that, why, just because you don't like someone or an opinion, that you're taking away a spot from an elected official. Differing opinions is what matter in government, and me personally, I didn't like his answer. I didn't, I like John as a person, but I did not like his answer on that. I don't know. What do you think about it? And you can be as vague as you want, or, I don't want to start no trouble. Or how, maybe as a council, how would you handle it? Or,
I guess I don't know all
me
of
neither.
it.
Me neither. But we only know what we see because
exactly
transparency.
Transparency is the biggest thing.
Yep.
I think it could have been explained a little more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why it wasn't.
Yeah, me neither.
And I
and you're not John. You can't speak for him.
No, I can't speak for him, so I really don't know. I wished I could tell you I did.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not going to say whether it was right or wrong.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. I think it would have been better if they had waited till attorney was there, because the attorney wasn't there that night, to have made sure it was okay. I will tell you this. Every time I have ever been at a council meeting and there was somebody that was related to something, they've always stepped off.
Yes.
And not voted.
Yes.
And I will give the best example I know, Jeremy Burks. Anytime there was something that was to do with his family or anything, I would see him get up out of his seat and go sit in the audience.
That is the best way to do it.
I have never seen one of them up there get out of their seat and go sit in the audience when it had something to do with something they probably should have stepped aside on.
Yeah, and or at least rescind the vote.
Rescind the vote.
Yeah, just abstain, I guess.
Abstain. But even abstaining, Jeremy always set the example high, I think.
Yeah, he did.
And no matter what you think of Jeremy Burks, he was a good council member, and he cared about our town, and he still cares about our town.
Yes, he does.
Very much.
Yep. And like you said, him going and sitting in the audience and stuff, that's a big thing, I mean, just to set that standard. And to me, that's the gold standard. It's like, oh, you can't do this, so I'm going to be a citizen. Go sit in the audience.
Exactly.
I think that's a very good way to make sure there's no controversy. And I like that. I really do. I think that is a very good way.
I think that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe.
But I do feel like if, the city attorney should have been there.
Yes.
Or somebody should have said.
Just to walk them through it. Because they're not lawyers. It's like, walk us through what we need to do right now. But, me and, a bunch of citizens' biggest thing. And like I said, you're not John. You don't. And I'm not telling you to answer this. We're just talking about it. But like my biggest thing was like, you appointed her. And then two council meetings later, you rescind. That does not look good. No matter how you cut it, it doesn't look good.
No, and it should have been explained a little better.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is the explanation made it look worse?
Yeah,
it really did. And like that maybe he didn't think about it or whatever. But at the same time, like you got to, because you're up there, public scrutiny's on you. You're under a magnifying glass, and I don't know. That was one of my criticisms of him. And I would have said that to anyone who was in that position, so I think hopefully we could do better in the future.
Yes.
And just see what happens, yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah, it was.
And, there was a lot of people rightfully so mad about it, just because of the lack of explanation and how it looked, and that's a lot of it. That's like with Mr. Pierce and the city administrator. It's all about how it looks.
Exactly.
To the people.
You're exactly right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And, yeah, maybe our town will learn, or our council or government will learn from these mistakes and not make them. I know there's not much time left for some of the council members, but just keep learning, keep doing better. Maybe it wouldn't have happened if you went to these schools, and learn. And that's all people can do. That's all people can do is learn. what else you want to talk about? What did you got? I mean, is there anything else?
I think I've pretty much covered it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
you got anything else you want to throw at me?
Well, I'm just sitting here thinking. I mean, about the city, not really, but do you want to talk a little bit about your business, what you do?
Well, I can.
I mean, plug it. Advertise. It's free advertisement.
Yeah, you're true. Well, my husband, like I said, owns Burton Transport. We own trucks, so we have trucking. Mm-hmm. And then I have Able Insurance, and I've been in Able Insurance since 2008. We sell property and casualty. I do trucking, commercial, auto, home, farm, you name it, work comp.
Yeah, all that.
All of it.
So even like business insurance.
Business insurance and all.
Okay. How would they get a hold of you?
They can come by our office at 507 North Elm Street in Mountain View. And then also they could call 417-934-0128. Okay. And then and they could stop in, see Crystal and Robin. They probably won't see much of me. I'm between both jobs at the moment.
No,
so
I understand.
So anyway.
So before we go, so what's some positive things that you see happening in our town, or what? I mean,
well, there's a lot happening I think there's a lot of positive things that can happen in our town.
Yeah.
Our pool's going to get open. Yeah. I was dropped by there a week or so ago and the concrete was looking good. Good. I was surprised to see, I haven't been by there in a few weeks, and here I seen fresh concrete. So it looked good.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like going, good. That means pool will open.
I'm excited for it.
Me too.
Because that's a lot of things that some kids, that's all they got in the summertime, So
it is.
It's important.
And pool is good for special needs kids. Most people probably wouldn't realize that. Horseback riding, swimming pools, both those are very good for handicapped kids. Mm-hmm. My son gets more out of a swimming pool, so
yeah, and I'm sure it's a sensory thing, like it is. Feels safe because it's kind of like wrapped around you and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I just see lots of things coming together. I mean, we've got the Buck Nelson coming up.
Yeah, I'm excited.
That's in April.
I'm so excited for that.
I think that's going to be a great thing for our town.
We need to plug that. Do you know the dates on that?
That is April 4th. Oh, April 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Okay. And it's going during the total solar eclipse. And so you guys are going to be able to experience totality in Mountain View during this Buck Nelson festival. That is Buck Nelson. If you guys go back to my very first podcast episode, I had someone come on and we talked all Buck Nelson. And what is it? I'm sorry.
Books and glasses for sale.
Okay, they have books and glasses for sale. Where can they pick those up?
At 507 North Elm Street. At Able.
Okay, so you guys can pick up the Buck Nelson books and solar glasses.
Yep.
I'm guessing. And then you can pick them up. They're for sale over there at Able Insurance. Is there anywhere else that they can pick them up, or is that it for now?
That's it. For now.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure we're getting all the information out there. But what they are doing with this solar eclipse is they're interweaving the Buck Nelson story. He was a guy here in Mountain View. He wrote a book about his trip to Venus. I think he was abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
And he went to Venus, and he wrote a whole book about it. He used to have festivals out at his farm and like conventions about UFOs and stuff. I don't know about you guys. I am a UFO nut. I love aliens. I love Buck Nelson. I love UFOs. I love it all. And the fact that we're doing it during a total solar eclipse just adds to the excitement and the mysticism of it. And this is going to be a cool thing for our town that they're doing. It's an exciting thing, and it's a very open-minded thing because, most people around Mountain View, they're pretty conservative when it comes to like UFOs and stuff. No one wants to admit that they like them or anything, but I'm a total nut about it. But yeah, my first podcast episode, I had someone who had done a lot of Buck Nelson research. She come on here for 3 hours and talked about Buck Nelson.
Doesn't surprise me. He's very well known by the locals. Yeah. I mean, very well known, especially even by the older people.
Yeah, my grandma. I had no idea about Buck Nelson until that girl came on the podcast, and I went and was talking to my grandparents. I'm like, hey, I said, I just did an episode on this, and they're like, oh yeah, we know about that. It was cool, and that's another thing is like the history of Mountain View. A lot of the history of Mountain View is getting lost or forgotten. But now people are starting to revitalize it and bring it up again. And like this Buck Nelson thing, that could be a huge selling point for our town as a whole, just as a destination stop.
Well, they're saying 50,000 people could come through our town in this whole thing. 50,000. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. Do you know like what's going to be happening during this Buck Nelson?
Well, we're having a art show.
Okay.
We're having a parade. We're having a 5K run. And a dance.
Ooh.
Cosmic skate night at the youth center.
So it's going to be 5 days of fun.
It's going to be 5 days of fun, 5 days of busyness is what it's going to be.
For sure. And you guys are doing this, and the proceeds are going to?
It is going to the youth center and the sports.
That's
and
awesome.
Youth soccer.
That is awesome. So you're doing something for the community, and you're giving back to the community in this. And I want to just encourage.
I was going to say, Devin, the advertising for it is very cheap. It's $100 to advertise.
Okay.
For it, and I think that's very cheap for business owners, and I recommend anybody to sign up to do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it's going for a good cause.
And will the advertisement be on like the flyers, or do we know?
It will be on the flyers. Everything.
Okay. I mean, businesses. I mean, if we're having 50,000 people come through our town on this, even if we get half that at 25,000, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
$100 advertisement, you're getting that much exposure. That's a really good thing. It's going to a really good cause, helping our town, helping our community. So I would like to encourage businesses, individuals, anyone that's got something in Mountain View. If you want to donate to it, you don't have to have a business. Just donate. Go buy a book. Go buy solar eclipse glasses. But let's do our best to rally around and support our town and support a good cause.
Because it's going to be fun.
It's going to be cool. I'm excited for it. And, UFOs, that's right up my alley. I love it.
Well, and I think there's supposed to be a real live astronaut come, and there's supposed to be the...
Is he the one from Eminence?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him to come on the podcast.
And then there's supposed to be the other people come.
Oh, the Cowboys?
The Mouflon.
Oh, the Mouflon? What's that?
That's Missouri Federation of UFOs.
Missouri Federation of UFOs is going to be here. That's going to be cool. But if you look, see my banner back there? It's got a UFO on it.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm crazy about UFOs.
You'll have to get you a float to be in there,
exactly,
Devin.
Yeah. But
the Wichita Mountain Bluegrass Band is coming.
The Wichita Bluegrass Mountain Band, right?
Wichita Mountain Bluegrass Band.
Wichita Mountain Bluegrass Band is going to be there playing.
There'll be all kinds of food trucks and vendors at around the Veterans Park on the 8th.
Okay, Veterans Park. There's going to be food and vendors and all kinds of fun stuff down there with bluegrass music. And yeah, guys, come out to that.
Show.
Do what?
Craft show.
Okay, craft show.
From 8 to 2.
Okay, craft show from 8 to 2, and that's going to be at the youth center. Youth center. We'll have the craft show, which is right down from the pool. Guys,
I believe the art show's at the community center.
Community center. Sorry. Yeah, the art show's at the community center. Guys, show up for this. Support it. They're putting in the legwork. They're doing something for our town that is desperately needed to revitalize our economy, our town, and just get people involved. So come out to this. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a great thing, and I'm pretty proud to have it on here and advertise for it. So, yeah. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
Just thank you for having me on, Devin.
Thank you for coming on. I
I
really appreciate it. I enjoyed our conversation. I think it was a great talk. I think we talked a lot of things out, and I hope we can do it again.
I do too.
All right. Well, guys, this is it for tonight. See you next episode, and cheers.